I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sorrell?
Here.
Mayor Grasso?
Here.
Council Farini?
Here.
Council Marshall?
Here.
Council Penelakis?
Here.
Council Hines?
Here.
Council Reynolds?
Here.
Council Whitehouse?
Here.
Council St. Laurent?
Here.
Please rise for a moment of silent prayer, and then the Assistant Mayor, Joanne Grasso, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by God Bless America. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
I'm sorry. Yeah. We're down to presentations, and we have the honor tonight of having Tithing Juice and our new chairperson of the neighborhood committee, Robin McIntosh. They put on a surprise party for me, and it shook me up. When I can't speak, I was shocked.
Mayor Sorrell and City Council, thank you. And we want to thank those of you who were able to make it to the celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Citywide Neighborhood Committee last week. And for those of you who weren't able to make it, we did have a little surprise for Mayor Sorrell, and we wanted to thank her so much for her support over the last 10 years to the Citywide Neighborhood Committee. And in a way to show our support, we wanted to do something for something that she was supportive of also, if that made sense. And we asked people to donate money towards the Save the State House Fund, and we raised $300 towards it that we would like to give to you this evening.
Hey, that's wonderful. Good. Thank you, sweetheart. I give you a hug, but you're too far away. Thank you very much. You see who gets the money, don't you? John. And I'd just like to say one little thing before I part and get into the agenda. It was a shock, but I did want to say that it isn't the mayor as much as the neighborhood people that have made this grow to such an extent. And I want to thank each one of the neighborhood that's listening tonight, because they're all very special. And Robin, I wish you the best, and I know Tylene will be at your side all the way. And you know where to come for advice if you need it. Thank you. Yeah. I'd like to make the following motion to accept the $300 donation for Save the Old State House, which came from the Citywide Neighborhood Committee.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Acceptance of the minutes of the meeting for January 10th, 2005.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Honor? Aye. Oh,
Yes.
Sorry, just one minor comment. I suppose it's a correction, and I only just noticed this moments ago when we were in the back room, and I was breezing over these. Just a correction for whatever, public understanding. With respect to the new library and the construction of the new library, and John O'Leary was here at the meeting and remarked that, he's very proud to tell us that 90% of the Armory building is being recycled. I'm quite sure that he didn't mean to say that 90% of the Armory building is being reused in the new library, and rather that 90% of the materials are being recycled in that they're being diverted from the landfill. I think if I'm correct, we're only using a relatively few items, perhaps some girders and some bricks and things from the Armory, shingles in the new library.
Right.
So I suppose it's a minor point, but I just wanted to, just so there wouldn't be any misunderstanding that the council overplayed that or something. But it's quite an accomplishment and a tribute to the work that the city's doing, that 90% of building that's been completely demolished is not just going to the landfill, but instead being sent to, there's a manager of the process, and it's being recycled for use in someone's new construction.
Your Honor, I move that the change as stated be noticed in the minutes of the meeting of January 10th.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. I'd like everyone, all of the councilors, to look at the present that I was given today from an elderly gentleman that walked all the way from Aldridge Road to present me with the first brick from the Armory for our new library. I thought was very, very nice of him. He was huffing and puffing, and so was I. Poor God to his soul. Okay, now we're down to a public comment session, and we have Denise Greeley, 20 Islington Street, here in Portsmouth, and she wants to speak regarding Islington Street.
My name is Denise Cloutier Greeley. I live at 20 Islington Street. For 17 years, I lived at 369 Islington Street. Crossing that road, doesn't matter where you are on that street, people will not slow down. In the last month and a half, since I moved into the Keep House, I don't know how many times I myself have almost been hit. And where that man was hit on the corner of Bridge Street, the people drive up beyond the crosswalk, stop, they look towards the lights towards town, they do not look beside him, and a red RV, talking on his phone, almost hit me. I mean, it is really bad. I really pray that you will have lights put. There are signs going back both ways. Dawn saw that they were put on, but people don't ignore them. City trucks don't pay any attention, and there's other vehicles in the city that don't. They come, they get at that light, and they take off like gangbusters. They get at the corner of Bridge Street, they take a right, and they take off, and they don't look one way or the other. I was sitting talking to ladies tonight at the Keith House, and it's very dangerous there. We need those lights like they have out on Bothwick Ave. If you haven't seen them, take a ride out by the Liberty Mutual. Please do something before someone is killed. One person, my best friend, was killed, and I have gone by there a dozen times, and that is lit enough so that someone should have been able, I believe in my heart, should have been able to see Jackie. They do go fast on that road, and even 30, 35 miles an hour, and I've had to catch myself. I'm guilty. Please do something before someone else is killed. I beg of you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Denise, very much.
God bless you.
All right, that ends the public comment session, and now we're down to the approval of grants and donations. The first one is to accept the donation to the Portsmouth Police Honor Guard from St. Andrew's Lodge in the amount of $600,000.
600.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, boy. $600. Who would like to make the motion?
Your Honor, I move that the City Council approve and accept the $600 from the St. Andrew's Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. To accept the donation to the Portsmouth Police Department from the Walmart Foundation in the amount of $1,375. What you wish.
Second.
Yes.
Is that the same, in our minutes, the last meeting, we received the same amount from the Walmart Foundation. Is that the same amount, or is that a separate? Because we've already accepted it once, so we.
It's for the fire department, Councilor St. Laurent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Acceptance of a donation to the new library building fund.
Your Honor, I'd like to move that we accept this donation of $100 from David and Teresa Garabedian.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. acceptance of 2005 Local Source Water Protection Grant. What you wish, councilors.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Now we're down to presentations and considerations of written communications and petitions. The first one, I'll ask Assistant Mayor to read regarding Portsmouth Little League, so the people at home can hear it.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's addressed to City Manager, Dear Mr. Bahinko. Similar to the request of the last 4 years, which were approved by the City Council, Portsmouth Little League Incorporated respectfully requests approval for temporary signage to be located at the Plains and Hislop Park ball fields during the 2005 baseball season. Our request is for signage in the form of banners, which will be attached to the fences surrounding the outfield and foul lines. The signage represents advertising for local businesses who have donated to and support the league. We are requesting permission to affix the banners to fences from approximately May 1st, the season opener, July 31st, 2005, or the end of the tournament season. For the past 4 years, with permission received by the city to raise revenue through signage, Portsmouth Little League was able to bypass tagging by players as a form of fundraising. As a part of the Little League's programs to protect children, fundraising without direct supervision is prohibited, essentially eliminating tagging as an option for fundraising. Our goals this year is to equal the revenue generated by signage last year so that we can complete the interior work on the new concession stand at Hislop Park. The revenue that we generate not only enhances the quality and safety for our players, but also extends to other groups, such as the Recreation Department and local organizations who use the fields for baseball or softball. Little League has a long and proud tradition in the city of Portsmouth. We are grateful for all the support we have received in the past and plan to continue to offer a safe and quality program that meets the needs of the community we serve. Please let me know if it would be of benefit for me to attend the council meeting at which this request is considered. Thank you. And it's signed Kathy Lynch, 3 Boyan Place in Portsmouth.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
move to city manager with power.
Second.
All right, discussion.
Yes, Your
Bill?
Honor. I just want to mention, Your Honor, that these signs, I believe in the past, were asked to face inside the park and not outside the park. So I'd like to make sure that the city manager, along with that,
If the maker of the motion would just include that as,
to amend that.
this, which you probably already did, is just have the signs facing in, which I'll tell Kathy. If everybody agrees with that, that should be part of the motion. Okay?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Now we're down to the next letter. It's a letter from Barbara Massa, Pro Portsmouth, Inc., requesting permission to hold the 15th Annual Children's Day on Sunday, May 1st, 2005. What's your wish, Councilor?
Your Honor? Your Honor,
Yes, Councilor Whitehouse.
thank you. I move to the city manager with power.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Letter from Barbara Massa, Pro Portsmouth, Inc., requesting permission to hold the 28th Annual Market Square Day on Saturday, June 11th, 2005. Councilor Reynolds?
Your Honor,
Yes.
pleased to move the letter requesting permission for the 28th Annual Market Square Day on Saturday, June 11th, 2005, to the city manager with power.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. A letter from the Islington Street residents requesting repairs to the powder house. I think John should speak on this first because, yes, John, go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you, Your Honor. I provide, there, actually, just to go back for those that are watching that don't have this letter, there was a request from residents regarding the powder house and the repair of the roof. We would agree that the roof is in need of repairs. In fact, I did have Steve Parkinson do a memorandum to the City Council through me, indicating that back in November of 2002, bids were solicited to rebuild the entire roofing system from the rafters, sheathing, and cedar shingles. At that time, we sent out the bids to 9 companies, and we did not receive any bids in response. What we will endeavor to do is to seek out those that specialize in this work. It's very unique. I provided you a copy of a picture showing the powder house, and the type of roof that is required is very specialized for someone to bring back historic restoration for that. So what we'll do is we will seek out a company that specializes. Prior to us doing the work, we will let you know what the costs are and how we plan on funding it, or if we need to include it in the capital plan. But I will write back a letter to them, including Steve's memorandum, and also indicate that we intend to go out and find a specialized company to deal with this issue.
Great. That is a special building. I don't know if any of you have been down by it and have seen it.
Your Honor, with that said, I'd like to move this to the city manager with a request for a report back.
Your Honor, may I ask, how about if it's just a request to send them a letter with this memorandum, because I think this would be the report back that I would give.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're down to a letter from Islington Street residents requesting funding capital improvement plan for the installation of sidewalks on Islington Street.
Your Honor, if I might suggest that we are going to be in the process of discussing the capital plan for fiscal year 2006 through 2011. One of the things I will do is send back a letter to these residents indicating that there will be a public hearing on the capital plan on March 21st. As last year, there was an individual that came before the city council and talked about sidewalks. I think that will be the process that should be used. People should come to the public hearing on the 21st and indicate that they feel there's a need for sidewalks. That's why we have the public hearing. So I will send them a letter indicating that that's the case.
You had 2 neighborhoods come out on that one. Bill?
Thank you, Your Honor. Direct to the city manager, could CDBG funding come into this?
No, because community development block grant funding really is targeted to certain economics, and that would not qualify.
Wouldn't qualify. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Whitehouse?
Yes. A question to John, please.
Yes.
John, would you please put together a package or a ballpark figure of what the cost would be?
I have it.
You do?
Yes. I'll pass it out if I might, Your Honor.
Okay.
This is just a quick figure, so it's $306,000.
All the way from the plane?
Yeah. And so what I'll do is I'll pass that down, and you can have it. But I think it's important to let people use the process. You know, I mean, we have a public hearing on the 21st. I encourage them to come in and speak to the process. So this is a very rough estimate, you know, but I wanted you to have it tonight, so you will have it. But the other thing you have to realize, even though this might be one of the solutions to the issue on Islington Street, it's a comprehensive review and approach to Islington Street and the traffic calming techniques that we're going to have to utilize out there. So it's not, and I've been working with John Burke, and we're going to be instituting the second phase of the Islington Street corridor study to look at some of these issues. But it has to be taken as one large program. It can't be just individual items. I think there's multiple things that have to be done out there. But I did provide, so this is available to you, and again, it's a rough estimate, and I would encourage, and I will send a letter to the residents indicating that they should come on March 21st and put their request into the record.
Would somebody like to make the motion before more discussion?
Motion to send this to city manager with power?
Sure.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
No, none of this is in the CIP present.
Not right now, no, and again, I think it's important for the council to review this as one large project. You know, we may, in the CIP, we may say, okay, we need to have multiple approaches to the issue. Not only just sidewalks, but, you know, maybe narrowing down the street, maybe doing something with traffic signalization, maybe doing something, as our first speaker said, maybe some new type of lighting. So it's not just going to be sidewalks that's going to cure this issue. I think we need to look and have a comprehensive approach to it.
Excuse me, Your Honor, would this start at the beginning of Islington and go all the way out? I mean, as far as the Keith building?
Well,
we're not going that far down with it.
No, the sidewalks that they're talking about are further up towards the playing field, that they're talking about, right? But
you're talking about the comprehensive part of it.
I think you need to go the whole corridor, Islington Street, and you have to look at that. And, you know, there's going to be a number of things that are going to be part of that. There's going to be the Bartlett Street intersection. I mean, that is not an easy fix. It was identified in 1965 by an engineering firm that did their comprehensive study back then as a need for improvement. So it is a substantial sum of money that we're going to be looking at. And what we need to do is we need to approach it in a very methodical way in the capital plan, spread it out over a number of years, and also see where we need to put our money first to get the biggest improvement that we can. And it may or may not be sidewalks. I don't know.
And they're talking about taking properties, too. John?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask that the Parking and Traffic Commission be kept involved in this issue. We have a number of responsibilities to the young people who use the planes and even walk further up to the city park and ride for ball games. And we're very much concerned with the sidewalk issue, crosswalk issues, and the traffic speed. So we would like to be kept involved.
Don't worry, John. You will.
Are we all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? A letter from Attorney Peter Ferry proposing to give the alleyway in the rear of the Winberg property running from Fleet Street to the Haven Court to the city.
Your Honor, may I recommend that this matter be referred to the Planning Board for a report back, because any time there is an acceptance or disposal of city property, it needs to be reviewed by the Planning Board.
I think that's the motion, yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Letter from Wendy Noyce, AIDS Response Seacoast, requesting permission to hold the annual Seacoast AIDS Walk on Sunday, May 1st, 2005, from 11 to 4 p.m.
Move to city manager with power.
Second.
Jim?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. This is the same day as the Children's Festival, too, so I'm wondering, that's not going to conflict in anything. That's not going to create a conflict in any way.
Am I, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Counselor, this has happened in the last few years, and they have not created a problem.
No, I don't mean, but I...
No, I mean, there's no
between both
conflict.
of them,
There's
the same day.
pretty much on the sidewalk, and I have not heard of a problem, but
Okay.
maybe I will now.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Councilor Whitehouse?
In fact, there's 3 events that day. The Children's Day, there's a bike race going through the city, and there's a walk.
Right.
So 3, it happens every year.
Right.
Okay.
It's the Clean Air Challenge.
Okay, we all ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? A letter from Attorney Bernie Peelich regarding Avanti. Oh, that's a French one. Avanti. I should have let Steve do that one. Development and conveyance of land. Steve, why don't you work on that one?
Well, I would move that we move this to the city manager with power, and if I could say it in French, I would. Or
He's French, I'm Italian.
Yeah,
Well, first, now hold on for a second.
French is
I think we need...
but that may not be the issue.
Your Honor, there was some discussion during the past week in the planning department about this request, and the members of the planning department would actually like an opportunity to review it again before the council votes on it. So might I suggest that the appropriate recommendation, or appropriate motion would be to refer to the planning board?
And that's what we'll do.
Report
request
back.
to the
Second.
planning board. Yeah.
Very good. Any other discussion on this? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good night, Bernie. Letter from Suzanne Delaney, Portsmouth, site, okay.
Criteria.
Criterium, right, oh boy. Okay. Criterium Race Committee, 2005, requesting permission to present their proposal at February City Council meeting in returning the Portsmouth bike race to downtown on Sunday, September 18th, 2005. And Ned, I'm going to let you do that one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just would like everyone here and out there to recognize that this is simply a request from the race committee to make a presentation during our February council meeting, not an approval of the event per se. And so I would move that we refer to the city manager and ask him to place it on the agenda for our February meeting and make provisions as requested for the race committee to make an audio-visual presentation to the council.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Did I get a second?
Second.
Very good. Any other discussion? Seeing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. A letter from Sean Rafferty regarding whether archaeologists, experts are needed at sites where historic buildings are demolished or where new foundations are being dug in the historically significant areas of the city. Assistant Mayor?
Your Honor, I'd like to move this to the planning department with a report back, because I think that the answer is something that everyone should hear publicly. I know the city is following all the rules and regulations on this, but I think the community needs to know that.
Second.
Yes, Councilor Whitehouse?
Yes, a question to our city manager, please.
Mm-hmm.
John, does this come under the jurisdiction of the state, in a sense?
Well, Your Honor, if I might.
Yes, John.
Counselor, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of issues that this kind of crosses over, depending on what we're dealing with. The letter talks about a number of issues, and that's why some research is needed. In fact, I asked staff to take a look at it, and they've come up with a few things, but it was rather quickly, and I wanted to make sure that we had the review to make sure there aren't statutes that would affect this. As you are well aware, the city is, as a matter of policy on all its projects now in the Central Business District, has had an archaeologist on call and retained. It actually works to our advantage. So I guess I would agree with the assistant mayor, and get it over to the planning department for report back to the planning board. And if there is a need, maybe to look at any types of local regulations that might be required. But at this point, I can't answer that question specifically. So I don't have an answer.
All ready for the vote?
John?
Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to actually publicly thank Mr. Rafferty for his letter. I learned a great deal just by reading it, and I think he's done a service to the community in raising the issue. Certainly seems as though the city is already doing a number of things, but it's probably, as the motion indicates, worth referring to the planning board for some additional discussion, and perhaps some of the historic groups in the city can contribute to that discussion, and certainly think it's the right way to go.
John?
Your Honor, we're not required to have the archaeologists on, but we think it's a good best practice to have, considering some of the things that we might run into. So on our road projects, we do.
Very good.
So if nothing else, this will serve to inform the community that we, as the assistant mayor said, that we are in fact doing what we should.
Any other discussion? You ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Now with,
Your Honor, if I could,
yeah, sorry about that.
in Mr. Rafferty's letter, he talks about the, Eagle building and the site there, and I want to bring forth that the architect, Steve McHenry, is having his people do a lot of research on the importance of that building, and that they are hoping to have something inside that will acknowledge what has occurred on that site.
Very good, thank you, Joy. A late letter coming in that I'd like to read. The Honorable Mayor and City Council, Portsmouth Municipal Complex in Portsmouth. Dear Mayor Sorrell and members of the City Council, the Portsmouth High School Student Council is in the process of organizing Student Government Day 2005. With your vote and approval, Wednesday, March 30th, 2005, will officially be known as Student Government Day in Portsmouth. On this day, selected Portsmouth High School students will assume various municipal roles as well as city council positions. We trust you agree that Student Government Day has proven to be very worthwhile and enjoyable experience for all those involved in it. And we hope that you will enthusiastically endorse it again this year. We appreciate all of your support and cooperation in past years and look forward to working with you on yet another successful Student Government Day. Most sincerely, Whitney Dupree, Student Council President, and Mary Carey Foley, Student Council Advisory. What's your wish, councilors?
Your Honor, I move we accept the communication, place it on file, and we accept the request.
Very good.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? You know, it just doesn't seem possible to me that it's here again. Seems like they were just sitting here. Right. Now we're down to the city manager, and John has 4 items that require action.
Thank you, Your Honor. First item is a request to change the February 7th meeting to February 14th. I provided you with a memorandum indicating why that request is being made, self-explanatory.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we reschedule their meeting from February 7th to the 14th.
Second.
Second.
Second. Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All opposed?
Council Reynolds, I assume that the Criterion people have been advised too, right?
They have.
Councilor Pandalakis is going to be down south sitting in the sunshine.
Yeah, watch my boys at the football banquet.
Okay.
And grandsons.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next item deals with a proposed temporary license agreement with Hilton Gardens. I provided you with a rather extensive memorandum regarding this matter, but the summary of it is that after going through all the land use reviews and requirements, the Hilton Gardens will be commencing their construction, and they're going to need certain temporary easements so that they can construct the property. Some of the proposals that were approved by the Historic District Commission indicated their preference that the new Hilton be built right to the edge of the property line, and that's going to require that their equipment be on city property as well as the use of 18 parking spaces. We have a license agreement that the City Attorney's Office has drafted and worked with the Parade Hotel LLC regarding this temporary license. We believe it's equitable for both sides. There are incentives for them to get off our property sooner. If they don't, there is financial penalties. In addition, there is they are paying for the lost spaces for the parking. So we believe that this is a fair proposal, and I would ask your approval.
Your Honor, I move that the City Council authorize the city manager to negotiate and enter into an agreement with the Parade Hotel LLC for the use of certain public areas along Hanover Street and High Street.
Second?
Discussion?
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I would just point out that this was before the planning board and then referred to the city council after we had an opportunity to hear a fairly extensive presentation in this regard. It certainly seems to be in keeping with best practice, given the HDC's recommendation that we build to the property line so that the odd windowsill that comes over the line and so forth is properly licensed and addressed. And it's, I think, complete, well considered, and appropriate for our approval, and I will support it.
Your Honor,
Yes, Bob?
that actually, the license agreement that Councilor Freeney just spoke about is a separate matter which will be coming to you. The license agreement you have in front of you tonight is
temporary.
Is temporary license to allow use of parking spaces during construction.
But I think because of the extent of this, this has been a real complex project, and there'll be multiple things that have to be worked out, but there will be some permanent easements required as well.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would like to ask the city manager if he has an idea of how long construction, because this is during construction, we have an idea of how long construction would be?
So basically, we have outlined it. Let's see.
January 15th, 2005 till June 30th, 2006.
Just under a year and a half.
Right. And there's potential revenue generation of over $100,000 if they require all the spaces that are necessary.
Councilor Pandalakis?
Yeah, if those 18 spaces going to be tied up for a full year and a half through the summer months?
Sure.
The developer has made the option to do that available. However, it is not expected that all the spaces will be required for all the time. And because the developer is paying for the spaces on a daily basis, there's an incentive for that developer to use as few spaces as possible and to shorten the term as much as possible. But before construction even begins, it's just impossible really to determine how many will be needed and for how long.
Okay, thank you.
On the other side, Councilor Whitehouse?
Yes, I'd like to ask our city manager or our representative to the planning board from the city council a question, please.
Yes.
Under 13, it talks about materials. Now, this is a very tight area what we're working in down there, and this is only allowing temporary laydown for such as bricks and pallets and steel. Now, where is the permanent laydown area going to be in that section of the city for steel that would have to be stored for quite some length of time, or brick pallets, or other materials?
My understanding, go ahead. All that we could say about that at this point is that the laydown will not be on city property. It's the developer or the contractor's problem.
Okay, to resolve private up on the hill.
Will not be on city
Somewhere.
property.
Okay, it's going to be a tight area.
And somebody will be, I'm sure they'll have to find that.
Well, I think to point out, construction materials will not be stored within the licensed area.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the area that we have purvey over.
Unless it's going to be used immediately, such as brick pallets.
Right.
Probably some building materials.
Short-term inventory.
It's long-term storage.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. The next item deals with a proposed review of the dog ordinance and possible regulation of exotic pets. As my memorandum has indicated to you, the city attorney's office, along with the animal control officer, has indicated that there are a number of issues related to dogs that are vicious or repeatedly running loose in a manner which we don't have, that the owner doesn't have control over. At this time, it's the city attorney's office belief that it's time to look at this ordinance. There are a number of things that we need to address in it. So what I talked to Councilor Pantelakis and yourself, Mayor, and I'm recommending that the Assistant City Attorney, Suzanne Woodland, and the Animal Control Officer, Patricia Tate, work with the Dog Committee to redraft the existing ordinance and report back to the City Council on this matter.
Very good. You have a time certain, John?
No, I really don't. I don't know. I think you're going to have to take a look at what, your workload is, and this is something that came up in conversation within the staff meetings. And so, the sooner the better, but I don't want to constrain your committee.
We're not doing anything.
Okay, we'll get it done.
Councilor Whitehouse and
Yes,
and
I think,
Councilor St. Laurent.
I think Councilor Penelak is thinking along the same lines as I am. You know, spring is right around the corner. If we're going to have an ordinance change or a new ordinance pertaining to exotic animals, and we ought to get moving to get this thing underway. And
How about we
I'd
report?
like to see an amendment by the first, not an amendment, but a report back by the first meeting in March. Anyway.
Well, maybe that's a little too tight.
We can only get, it takes at least a week or two to get them.
How about
together,
the
and
first
that would be-
meeting in April? Is that okay?
All right.
Well,
All right.
I mean, that's fine with me. It's just a matter of getting your committee together, and you think that time frame?
Yeah, I expect that what the report is going to be is a proposed entirely new ordinance for first reading, and delete completely everything that we have, which is problematic.
Take longer than April.
It may take some time.
So
But,
by that,
but we'll aim for April, the first meeting in April. If we need more time, then Councilor Pantelakis will come back to the city council and ask for more time, I would suspect.
Thank you.
Who made the motion? Did anyone make the motion? No. Would somebody make the motion, please?
Your Honor, I move that, City Council recommend that Assistant Attorney Suzanne Woodland and, Animal Control Officer Patricia Tate work with the Dog Committee to redraft the existing ordinance and report back to the City Council, by the first meeting in April if possible.
Very good.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. You know, this is a little bit more serious than you all think. I was talking with the police chief, and they got a call over there in the Atlantic Heights. There was an alligator. So I think it's time. I think it's really time. All right, John,
Your
back
Honor,
to you.
if I may,
Yes, John.
out in the hinterlands where we live, it's not at all extraordinary to see animals out there chasing deer. We had 5 deer in our backyard last Sunday. Were moving pretty fast because behind them was another hybrid of a wolf that was chasing. So the state law, I think, allows you to shoot these animals, the hybrid wolves. However, I think we have a city law requiring that you not hunt or shoot at least in the residential areas of the city. So that'll be another part of this new law that we'll have to address.
But
You cannot discharge a firearm in the compact parts of the city, Your Honor. I think Councilor Hines is correct.
okay, very good. Councilor St. Laurent?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I think something like this is really needed, because right now, presently, and this is won't ever affect us, but in Florida, boa constrictors have been dumped into the some of the swamps there, and now they're very problematic. They're South American boa constrictors that had never been in the area are now invading their swamplands. So, and that may not it wouldn't happen here because they could not survive, but there are other animals that could be let free in this area that could survive, exotic animals, and would create a problem here. So I think this is a good one, like mountain lions or whatever could be something else that could happen in this area. So I think it's a good idea we do investigate this.
I think also we need to look at the leash law because we're having a lot of trouble with dogs running free, and people say they're on voice command, and my dog's on voice command too, as long as she's right in front of me. But if she sees a squirrel, she doesn't listen to me at all.
Are you going to need any more help on this committee, Laura?
I'm not sure what members have stayed, but I know we'll need the attorney.
Yeah. Will you
But
check?
anyone else that would like to come on,
Will you check to see how many you have on it right now?
I think there's only 6 on it right now.
6 on it?
Yeah.
All right. Kelly said she'd work with you, Laura, on that. Okay?
We all set?
We're all set, John?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. The next item is a request to reschedule the capital improvement plan work session, not the public hearing, the work session. As you recall, in the original schedule that I provided you, we have historically had the work session a week before the public hearing. What I'd like to do is move that to January 31st so we have more time so that we do the work session and if we have to add anything, we can. That way, you have more time to deal with this issue rather than just 1 week prior to the public hearing. So my suggestion is that we take the work session and move it to January 31st. I provided you with the copy of the capital plan that was approved by the planning board, and then that we then have the public hearing on March 21st. So my recommendation is that you would establish a work session for January 31st at 6:30 to review the fiscal year 2006 to 2011 CIP.
Your Honor,
Yes.
recommend the motion to recommend the city manager's movement of the CIP.
All right, did I get a
Public hearing.
second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
Is that going to leave the 14th open?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I may be where she is.
No, really, not the 14th.
I don't know yet.
No, the
People, I can't keep
14th
changing my
is
calendar. I'm
definitely
getting
not.
Well, we
Yeah.
can get into that. I haven't said anything yet. But
Yeah,
Were you planning something else on the 14th?
from the 7th to the 14th,
Can we just schedule a
aren't we?
meeting?
I don't follow what you're discussing right now.
Well, Bill isn't
Bill, are
going
you
to
asking
be
about-
We were talking about March 14th.
March 14th?
Oh, March.
Right,
March 14th.
I'm sorry, March 14th.
March
Okay.
14th.
All right.
February 14th, we have a regular meeting.
No, I
March
meant March
14th was the original schedule for the CIP,
And I'm saying
which
nothing
we're
else.
moving to January 31st.
And nothing else will be held. That's what I'm saying on March. Hopefully. I need a vacation.
Oh,
Okay.
listen to you. Your mayor is the one that needs a vacation. Okay. Where are we? All right. We all ready for the vote here?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just down to the informational items. Tomorrow morning, I'll be going with representatives from the Shipyard Association as well as other area officials to meet with our congressional delegation and the BRAC in order to make a case for not closing the shipyard. I'll be leaving tomorrow and coming back on Wednesday, and I'll report back to the City Council as to what took place at that meeting. Any questions relative to that?
No, other than I'd like to ask Tom Farini to read the letter that you will be taking to
Secretary Rumsfeld?
Washington with you. There it is right there, Tom.
Good, I don't want to read that license agreement by mistake. On behalf of the City of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and the Portsmouth City Council, I urge you to recognize the vital contribution of the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard makes to our national defense and to our local economy. We believe so strongly that it is essential that the shipyard remain open to serve our country that we have sent City Manager John Bohenko to Washington, D.C. to help make our case in support of keeping the Portsmouth Shipyard open and working at full capacity. We hope that the U.S. Department of Defense 2005 base realignment and closure evaluation will agree that the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard is an indispensable component of the Navy's new concept of one Navy nuclear shipyard and a unique source of talent and ability to maintain the nation's Los Angeles-class nuclear submarines. In addition, we believe the shipyard can adapt to service other military equipment. We are proud of our workforce of more than 4,500 employees, so talented that managers and workers are often lent to other shipyards to share their expertise and trade skills. In addition, the shipyard's $284 million payroll is a critical segment of the Portsmouth economy, as well as the economies of the 45 New Hampshire and 40 Maine towns where these highly skilled workers live. We believe the government should not even consider taking the repair work on the submarines so critical to our national defense and farming it out to private yards. We believe it is essential that the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard continues to fulfill its mission as a military installation dedicated to our national defense, especially in light of the new global challenges in the war against terrorism that are facing our nation. Sincerely, Mayor Evelyn Sorrell, City of Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Mayor, just one thing, that we did update, since we did write that letter, that the payroll is $318 million. So we updated that. That was the report that came out last week.
Mhm.
You had written the letter earlier in the week.
Right,
Okay.
right. John, have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Any other question? Yes, Councilor Whitehouse?
Yes, John, do you know who you'll be meeting with? Any idea what Captain McDonough set you up with?
Well, we will be meeting with the congressional delegation representatives, and then we are waiting to hear who we'll be meeting with from the Defense Department. Captain McDonough.
Nobody from the BRAC Commission, though, huh?
Well, that's something Captain McDonough is working on.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has made the arrangements, and the congressional delegation from both Maine and New Hampshire has been extremely cooperative, and I think we'll get in to see the delegation, and then we hope to deal with getting in to see people from the Defense Department to make our case.
Thank you, John.
Bill, and then the assistant mayor.
Thank you, and I want to thank John for the information of the economic impact for the Navy Yard, and I'm wondering if this is something that could get on the city website. Is it possible? Or
Sure, that's a good idea.
Because I think maybe the public should see this too if it's available. So.
Assistant mayor.
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted to comment that this morning on WTSN, the director of the Portsmouth Chamber of Commerce was on and spoke about his trip and mentioned the people going with him about the trip to Washington, and gave a lot of good reasons why the Portsmouth shipyard should remain in business. He did an excellent job.
All right.
The next item, Your Honor, is we promised after we negotiated the collective bargaining agreement with the fire department that we would bring back to you at the request of the assistant mayor results of earn time program that was implemented for the firefighters on March 2004 as part of the 2003-2008 contract. And as I've indicated in my memorandum, I'm pleased to report that the earn time system has resulted in a reduction of the number of leave days taken by the fire department. And this is all articulated in the memorandum. And I have Diana Fogarty here tonight, Human Resource Director, to answer any questions you might have relative to this. But it was, I believe, an excellent program that came out of the collective bargaining process.
Any questions of Diane while she's here, or John? Being no questions, I think everyone's happy. Thank you for your work, John.
Your Honor?
Quite a savings, wasn't it?
The assistant, what?
Quite a savings, wasn't it?
Yeah, one thing I would like to mention on that is we believe that we were going to have success in this program, so many of those savings were already taken into account when we did the budget last year.
Ned?
Your Honor, just wanted to comment, and just provide some extra attention to this item. This is a good example of the kind of, pretty obscure sort of inner workings of the city government that, most people would never think of, would not think that there might be potential, let alone a way to save, nearly $51,000. So I think it's worth paying some extra attention to. We always hear from the taxpayers that they want to have their taxes kept down, and we should keep an eagle eye on the spending, and we do that. And sometimes there's an implication, I don't know, think people really intend it, but that there's $50,000 laying around here or wasteful spending there that we could just simply lop off. It actually takes some pretty hard work to ferret out savings in a city government that's as well run as ours. So this is a terrific example, as you said, of something that was actually gained through the collective bargaining process and then was implemented, through the city staff with the fire department, and there it is, $51,000. So I think we should express appreciation to all involved, the firefighters union, and city personnel department and city manager. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor, unless...
Councilor Pendelaki?
Yes, I was just wondering, Madam Mayor, if you were going to read the letter from Portsmouth Housing.
Yes,
that were
I
on
am.
the fire department.
Yes. About the fire department or the other one?
The fire department.
Oh, yes. I've got that there.
Your Honor, that's all for my report tonight. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Any other questions of John? Very good. Well, now we're down to the mayor, and before I get into the reports and all of that, I would like to tell Councilor Whitehouse that I am going to pass the public comment session over to him that he has listed on the agenda. Now, what I would like to say here now, we have a lot of new people on the council, and we have a lot of old people on the council. And as the mayor, I do the agenda. I set it up. And I don't need surprises. And all I'm asking for is please stop in if you're going to the city attorney or to anybody, because I have to be made aware at all times. So I just don't schedule something. I mean, I didn't know Harold was going to do this until he came in the same day as the agenda. So I'm really going to have to ask that you all give me the privilege of coming to me, and that's why I'm sitting there and ask that of you. So, Harold, I'm going to get on with my reports, and when we get to you, you can take over on that. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. You're so kind.
You're welcome. Okay, now we're down to be voted on. The Planning Board, John E. Reese.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? To be voted on for the Planning Board, Raymond Wild.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? To be voted on for the Planning Board, Donald J. Coker.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? To be voted on for the Mayor's Blue Ribbon Cemetery Committee, Jennifer Marcellus. Marcellus. Okay, very
So
good.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? To be voted on for Save the Old State House, and I will have to apologize again to Harold and to Bill. That was the one that I slipped in, and I forgot that I didn't give it to you. John E. Lyons, Jr.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? But that will not be happening. I'm going to be doing the, you sent a memo to each.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay, so each one of you have the memo. And the applications will be going down to Kelly after I initial them, and then we go from there, okay? Because we're getting a lot, and it's been really busy. All right, now, I'm sorry, but I got a lot of reports tonight, so bear with me. The first report is, I spoke with the police chief, Chris LeClaire, this morning, and fire chief, fire chief this morning, and I received a letter from him and realized that he was a little upset that I had not read the letter from the Portsmouth Housing Authority from George Robinson. And if you might, I'm losing my voice, but if someone would like to read that for me.
I'll read it.
This is from George Robinson, Executive Director of the Portsmouth Housing Authority, to the Christopher LeClaire, Chief of the Portsmouth Fire Department. Dear Chief LeClaire, the Portsmouth Housing Authority recently had 2 fires at Gosling Meadows. I wanted to thank you and your staff for the great response to our emergencies. On 2 occasions, the apartments had severe kitchen fires that were brought under control and the fire extinguished efficiently. Each of the fires were in multiple unit buildings, and each emergency resulted in no damage to the other apartments. On behalf of the residents in our developments and the Portsmouth Housing Authority, thank you to you and all the members of the Portsmouth Fire Department. Sincerely, Portsmouth Housing Authority, George Robinson, Executive Director.
Thank you. And I had put this in under informational, which I am very sorry, and I do apologize. The two most important departments in this city has always been police and fire, no question at all. And they all work as a team. And I especially want to thank the off-duty officer that went in and saved a couple people. So they don't want any proclamations. They don't want any of that. But this will not happen again as long as I'm sitting here as mayor. The next one is received a letter today, if I can find it. Laura, do you have the letter
From the,
from Miss Kincaid?
yeah.
I have one.
I got it someplace.
I have it right here.
Oh, okay. Laura, why don't you read that from Mrs. Kincaid?
There we go.
Huh? She hasn't got the letter?
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Dear Portsmouth City Council members, my mother, Margaret Bryant, is a resident of Marston Building on Middle Street in Portsmouth. My mother will be 81 years old on February 28, 2005, and she uses a scooter to get around because of the arthritis in her knees. Yet she is expected to go out when the snowplow is there and move her vehicle to a parking lot a block away, or it will be towed at the owner's expense. I don't understand why anyone would want any of those elderly people out of their homes in that kind of weather, nor can I understand why anyone would want to threaten to take their last possession of any value away from them. I want you to know that January 16, 2005, my mother called worried because it was snowing and she wouldn't be able to move her car by 8:30 in the morning. There is no way my mother can go out on her scooter, load it on the back of the car and take the car a block away, then get the scooter off the back of the car and ride it on a snowy sidewalk back to the building. I promised I would come and move her car at 7:30, January 17th. I called my mother to make sure she knew I was on the way to move the car. My mother was almost in tears and said she hadn't slept all night worried about the car. Is this what is supposed to happen to a woman in her 80s? I would like to know what needs to be done to get the rule reversed. My mother has been living there for 15 years, and this has not been a problem before. I am sure that this issue can be resolved so that the elderly are not frightened about losing their vehicles. If there is someone else that I need to address, please advise. My contact information is listed below. Sincerely, Valerie Kincaid.
John, I have concerns. This isn't just the first letter that I've received. I received 2 letters from people over at Atlantic Heights High School. What I would like to ask for, I know we can't get involved in housing. I realize that. But what I would like to ask for is a work session with George Robinson to discuss a lot of these points. Because, I mean, we're talking about people in their 80s, their 90s, and they deserve to be treated like human beings. And I think this is something that we've got to look into. I truly do. Yes, Councilor Vandermarcus.
Yes, I talked to this woman on the phone, and she is very upset, and she has told me that it isn't the fact that her car can't be moved. Her children just can't get there in time enough in the morning before they go to work to clean it off and move it for her. I just feel that this policy has just come into place in the past 2 years. Last year we did not have a lot of snow, so it didn't affect the people. But this year there's loads of snow out there, and I just would hope that the Portsmouth Housing would review their policy and let the maintenance men clean it like they used to. And like the woman said, she's been there 15 years and never had this policy. But it sure is a black mark against the city of Portsmouth when their elderly people have to get out of their house by 8:30 in the morning and clean their cars off and move it. That's why they go to these housing projects, but they do deserve to have a car.
I would
Yeah?
request that we get a work session going with George Robinson, because there's a lot of other questions I'd like to ask him.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Probably, since the authority there is the Housing Authority Board, the letter probably should be directed to its chair from you, and that probably, from a protocol perspective, would probably be the better way. So we'll work on that with you, Your Honor.
And it would be nice if they could invite them to come to the work.
Well, I think that's probably important to have the Housing Authority there, because that's who Mr. Robinson reports to, and they're the policymakers. So it'd be one board to another. So that's probably the better way to do it.
They should really realize the problems that we're really having, especially in the mayor's office, and Laura's getting a lot of them. People that are sleeping in their car that can't get into housing, all kinds of things, you wouldn't believe it. So that's why I'm asking for a work session to sit down and clear it all up. I'm going to ask our liaison, Steve Marchant, to read this for me tonight, because I'm losing my voice. It's about the coalition, Steve, and bringing the councilors an update.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. I wanted to update you on the Coalition Community's Targeted Aid Education Funding Bill. Friday was the deadline to sign off on House bills that already had been submitted, such as ours. Our final list of sponsors includes Republican Representatives Edmund Gionet from Lincoln, Jane Langley from Rye, Betsy Padden from Moultonborough, and Margie Maybeck of Holderness. Our Democratic House sponsor is a new legislator from New London, Robert Foos. On the Senate side, the lead sponsor is our state senator, Martha Fuller Clark of Portsmouth. We also have Republican state senators Joe Kenny of Wakefield, Carl Johnson of Meredith, and John Gallus of Berlin. Things were changing quickly last week, and two Democrats, Representative John DeJoy of Concord, excuse me, and Senator Peter Burling of Cornish, decided not to be sponsors after all, so that they could be on the governor's bill. Governor Lynch's proposal is expected to be revealed soon. When we spoke last Monday, we meaning the mayor and Governor Lynch, he assured me, this is again all in the mayor's voice, he assured me that his proposal would meet our goals of eliminating the statewide property tax and donor towns, and making sure education funding grants go to the towns that need it. We expect to have a bill number this week. As you probably saw in the paper, 5 other education funding bills have also been introduced. All have targeted aid, and all get rid of donor towns. The governor's bill would be number 6. All of the bills are expected to go to the Education Committee first to be reviewed, but we don't know yet how soon that will happen. I'll let you know as soon as the date is set.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve has been working very hard, too. I don't know if I told each one of you, but I did meet with the governor just for a short time on Martin Luther King Day. He came down. John happened to be in the office, so I invited him in, and Pat Remick. So it was a very, very sincere visit, and I trust the man, and I have a feeling that they're going to solve our problem. I really do. You want a copy? No. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're down to what?
Your Honor,
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill.
Your Honor, I realize in an earlier statement you had made about coming to your office and you know, with information before going onto the agenda, but in defense of Councilor Whitehouse, he did at the last meeting advise the City Council, and this is on the agenda, that he would be placing the City Council Rule 43 regarding public comment session on the agenda under his name at the next council meeting. So I think this was something that was there. So I'm just, you know, in defense of Council Whitehouse, that he did come to us and tell us that he was going to do this. So other than that, I can understand your point, but I just want to state this in this situation. So
My problem is the agenda. And when we get all ready to work the agenda, I've got to have everything in front of me. And that's all I'm asking. Even if he comes in 2 weeks before we set the agenda and just say, I'm going to do this or that, Mayor, and I'm talking to each one of you. I want you to feel free to come in to me. I'm not sitting there just to greet all the people. I'm there to help the councilors too. I think that's my job. So that's all I'm asking, and then there wouldn't be any slip-up at all. Now we're down to Councilor Whitehouse, and he's going to speak on the public comment session, rule number 43.
Thank you, Mayor. You're so kind to me. Mayor, for more information in reference to Councilor St. Laurent's comments, I was in the city attorney's office on the 18th of this month at 9 o'clock in the morning. The 17th was a holiday. City Hall wasn't open, with my amendment to Rule 43. He assured me that he would get it to Kelly the same morning, and it would be brought up to your office and be part of the agenda for this meeting on the 24th. Besides, the agenda wouldn't be ready, or the packet wouldn't be ready until Friday. Usually it's ready Thursday, but with a holiday, it was ready Friday instead. But that makes no difference. But, Your Honor, there are two motions in front of us, and if I'm going to speak on my motion or your motion, I wish you would set the record straight. Which one will I be talking about?
You will be talking about yours.
Well, Your Honor, first of all, we're going to have to move the agenda, and so I'll make a move now. I move that we move C1 up to B1, so I'll be able to comment on my motion.
Second.
All right. All in favor? No.
Kelly didn't get that?
You don't need to do that.
We're at C1. We've gotten. We're here.
We are. Okay.
We're at
So we're not
C1.
talking about your...
She would
She deferred to.
Okay. All right. Well, Your Honor, I've given some thought, and I've decided to yield to the mayor. You pass your gavel, you make the motion, because my past record of getting seconds on motion is not that good. So I'd rather yield to you. You make the motion, and we'll go from there.
Are you sure, Harold?
Yes, I'm
Because-
sure, Your Honor. You're so kind to me. That's all right.
Your Honor?
Yes. Okay. Is Bob?
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
under City Council Rule 39, if you wish to make the motion that's in the memorandum on the agenda, you have two choices. You can either request a suspension of the rules, which requires a two-thirds vote, and if that passes, you can make that motion tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, what you can do is tell the City Council that you will have that motion before them at the next council meeting, in which case it's a simple majority vote.
Yeah, why don't we make a motion to, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, the motion is to suspend the rules, which requires two-thirds vote, a vote of 6. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The rules are suspended. Next motion?
Harold, you should have done it. Okay, motion that the overall period of time for the public comment session contained in City Council Rule 43 be lengthened from the current time period of 30 minutes to 45 minutes by replacing the word 30 and the word 45 in the rule.
Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Discussion.
I just have one question.
Yes.
This is going to stay at 3 minutes per person, right?
Bob?
Yes, that would stay the same.
Okay, but the number of speakers would, okay. I just don't want to give someone 45 minutes to talk.
Councilor Arnold?
And just to clarify,
Thanks,
and just to clarify, if we pass this modification to Rule 43, we will simply be changing the standard allowable time for the public comment session, lengthening it from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, it will always be within the power of the council to suspend the rules and allow longer public comment should we deem the topic or the number of speakers present that evening to warrant it. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Council Whitehouse.
Yes, the reason why I suggested this is because in the past, we've tried to suspend the rules when there's been 12, 13, 14, 15 speakers, and I've looked back in my record, and we've tried to suspend the rules 3 times to allow these people who came out at night to have their full 3 minutes to comment on issues, particularly the library issue in the JFK Center and everything pertaining to that, and we have not been able to get a 2/3 vote. So I think it's very, very important that this motion passes.
Ms. Rowe.
Just one comment. If they could recite the Gettysburg Address in 2.5 minutes, then I think the people that are coming before our mic can do it in 3 minutes. That's all I've got to say.
Any further discussion? Councilor Marchand.
I would be curious. I'm not sure if this is something that somebody would know off the top of their head. I, first of all, would agree with Councilor Whitehouse's assertion that it seems in my short time in the council that it's very difficult to get a suspension of the rules on this one to extend it beyond half an hour. That seems, I think what Councilor Whitehouse says seems to back that up. How often do we have more than 10 presenters or speakers anyway? Because if you have 10 or fewer, it's pretty irrelevant at the moment, right? Because it'll only be a half hour. How often are we really having, 12 people, 15 people anyway? I guess I'm a minimalist when it comes to changing rules and ordinances, and to me, maybe this is pie in the sky, but for the relatively rare occurrences where a lot of people get fired up to come, I would just as soon, I wish there was a way that we could be a little bit more lenient with giving folks that show up on a lousy day, like happened a month or two ago, and just give them the dignity of 3 minutes to speak. And if we can't do that in an informal way, then if this is the only way we can do it, then I would support it. I just wish there was a way we could do it in a less formal way instead of, playing around with the ordinances and the rules of the charter.
These rules are council rules. It has nothing to do with the ordinances.
Thank you for clarifying that. Basically, whether it's the rules of my home or the U.S. Constitution, that my principle is still the same, though, and that is don't mess with something if there's a way to do it in a good-spirited, informal way. I'm just not sure there is a way to do it, so I guess I would support it.
The only time you had a double whammy in this place was the dog committee. I kid you not, 400 people were here with dogs.
That wasn't on my list. Councilor St. Laurent.
Clarify that.
Councilor St. Laurent.
Yes, to add on to Councilor Marchand's statement, the 20 or the 10 that would come here, now that we have a little extra time, may draw more people because we want to hear from the people. So maybe if they see there is more time or more people are going to be able to speak, we may get more people speaking out to subjects that we need to have. So I would support this.
Councilor Fellini.
I couldn't possibly add anything to this discussion, but I will support it.
You don't know what you missed, Tom, with the dog committee. Oh, my God.
That was the dog part.
Any further discussion? Councilor Reynolds.
Just requesting one more clarification, just because Councilor Whitehouse referred to a 2/3 vote. I'm reading here in black and white that any provision of this rule, that is the public comment session, may be modified on a case-per-case basis by a majority vote of the council. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Suspend the rules.
Council rules as a whole that require a change in a council rule requires a 2/3 vote.
But a modification to the length of the public comment session requires just a majority.
To be done by the council anytime they want.
Okay.
Suspension of the rules.
Any further discussion? Are we ready for the vote?
I want to clarify one thing.
Yes, sir.
To suspend the rules, 2/3.
Correct.
To change a rule that's written in front of us, it takes suspension of the rules.
2/3
That's right.
or one meeting notice.
That's right.
Right. Understand.
Okay. Are we ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Unanimous. All right, now we're down. You come in and see me, Harold, now and then, you know.
Mayor, I'm awfully busy. I'm on 4 different committees.
All right, now we're down to any miscellaneous or unfinished business. Yes, Councilor St. Laurent.
Thank you, Your Honor. In our public comment session tonight, we had mentioned about the problems down by the Keith building. Is that something we could recommend to the traffic and safety to look into? Would that be in the way of a motion? I would make a motion if that's necessary, or with just a recommendation.
We can talk, I have it written down. I'll talk to John
I guess I'd like to see it.
Well, I don't know. I'll get it over to the Traffic and Safety Committee.
I'd appreciate it. Yes, okay.
And I want you all to remember that Councilor Hines is the chairperson of the Traffic and Safety. So if you do have any problems, go through him, please.
We'll really welcome them. We'd like to hear from everybody.
And like Denise Greeley, it'd be nice if she could come to their meeting. Right. Okay. All right.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Harold got a second.
Thank you.
You got it.